In ancient China, a brutal and tyrannical warlord unites the country's kingdoms into an empire and becomes the Dragon Emperor, Jet Li. The other rulers hired assassins to kill the emperor before he conquered them all, but the emperor was alert and defeated the assassins. His armies swept everything in their path, and anyone who resisted met a terrible fate. Emperor led a conquest to unify Qin and became the founder of the Qin dynasty. He orders the construction of the Great Wall of China to bury and curse his dead enemies, eventually gaining power over the traditional Chinese wuxing elements of fire, water, earth, wood, and metal. The emperor soon grows fearful that his death will end all he has accomplished and summons Xia Yuan, Michelle Yeoh, a sorceress who is said to know the secret of immortality. The emperor, his second-in-command and trusted advisor, General Ming, Russell Wong, to find Xi and to bring her to the palace. Xi tells the emperor that she does not possess the secret to immortality but knows where to find it. Emperor sends Xi with Ming to the monastery of Turfan to recover the oracle bones, a collection of all the mystical secrets of the ancient world. The book contained the secret to immortality and other magic beyond imagination. Xia Yuan and Ming fall in love despite the emperor wanting her personally. When one of his servants witnesses them having sex, he has Ming executed in retaliation. Xi seemingly casts a spell on the emperor in Sanskrit before he executes General Ming, his trusted friend and Xia Yuan's secret lover. He stabs Xia Yuan with a dagger, but having foreseen this event, she immolates and imprisons the emperor and his soldiers in clay, turning them into the terracotta army, and flees with the oracle bones. If the curse is lifted, the emperor will rise again to enslave all of mankind. In 1946, 13 years after the deaths of Imhotep and the Scorpion King, Alex O'Connell, Luke Ford, Rick, Brendan Fraiser, and Evelyn O'Connell's Maria Bellows' son, and his archaeology professor Roger Wilson, David Calder, Alex's supporter in his expedition of the Dragon Emperor's tomb, locate the Emperor's tomb. Alex defeats the booby traps of the tombs, but loses many trusted workers in the process, and finds that the Emperor is buried with his entire terracotta army. Though attacked by a mysterious woman who tries to stab Alex, but is forced to retreat when shot at by Wilson, they succeeded in bringing the coffin to Shanghai. Meanwhile, the British government entrusts the O'Connells to take the Eye of Shangri-La, a huge pear-shaped gemstone, back to China as a sign of good faith to the Chinese people. The gemstone was initially smuggled out of China in 1940. Rick and Evelyn were only too happy to accept the assignment as Evelyn was missing Alex, and the duo were bored out of their skulls in their mansion in England. Jonathan, Evelyn's brother, owns a nightclub in Shanghai. Rick and Evelyn ran into Alex at the nightclub and found that he had dropped out of college to chase mummies. It is revealed that Wilson works for a rogue military faction led by General Yang Anthony Wong, a Kuomintang general and the emperor's supporter who had provided the financial backing of Alex's expedition. Colonel Choi, Jesse Meng, works for Choi and is tracking the Eye of Shangri-La and its arrival in Shanghai with Rick and Evelyn. Yang believes that the Dragon Emperor is the one who can lead China out of the chaos following World War II, and plans to resurrect him using the Eye, which contains the elixir of life. Planning to connect with Alex, Rick, Evelyn, and Jonathan visit the mummy that he discovered. Rick and Evelyn hand over the Eye to Wilson. There, Wilson betrays Alex in front of Yang and reveals their purpose. Yang orders Evelyn to open the Eye, which can only be unlocked with the blood of a pure soul. Evelyn is willing to sacrifice herself to save Rick and is hence a pure soul. Her blood unlocks the Eye while Rick opens the sarcophagus. The mysterious woman from the tomb, Lin, stabs the mummified body within the coffin and discovers it is a decoy. The elixir from the Eye accidentally lands on a statue of the carriage driver, which is revealed to actually be the Emperor's mummified body. The Emperor is revived, trapped in his terracotta undead form. He accepts Yang and Choi's service but kills Wilson. Lin attempts to kill the Emperor with a magical dagger, the only weapon that can destroy him. Yang takes a shot at Lin, but she miraculously survives. The emperor escapes by driving the carriage through the streets of Shanghai. Along with Jonathan Carnahan, John Hanna, the O'Connells, and Lin Isabella Lang, Xia Yuan's daughter and protector of the Dragon Emperor's tomb. Rick, Evelyn, and Alex travel to a stupa in the Himalayas that will reveal the path to Shangri-La when the eye is placed on top of it. Since the eye is with Yang, they know that the emperor will be found there. With the help of Yetis summoned by Lin, the group hold off Yang's soldiers, but the emperor discovers Shangri-La's location. Alex attempts to trigger an avalanche. The emperor throws a dagger at him, but Rick shoves Alex aside and is stabbed instead. Lin takes the group to Shangri-La, where Xia Yuan still lives and heals Rick's wound. The group discovers that Lin is Xia Yuan's 2,000-year-old daughter, both rendered immortal due to the power of Shangri-La's waters. The magical dagger which Lin carries is the same dagger that the emperor used in his attempt to kill Xia Yuan years earlier. Xia Yuan also reveals that she would have died if the Yetis had not saved her and warns Alex that if the emperor is allowed to drink from the pool of eternal life, he will not only be able to raise his army, but be granted the power to transform into ancient and fearsome Chinese animal spirits. As Rick heals, Alex and Lin have grown attached to each other, but Lin refuses due to her immortality, unable to bear falling in love with Alex, only to watch him grow old and die just as Xia Yuan mourn for General Ming. The Dragon Emperor and General Yang eventually arrive and attack them in Shangri-La, takes the dagger, and the emperor bathes in the mystical waters, which not only restores his human form and youth, but also allows him to shapeshift. Transforming into a dragon, he kidnaps Lin and flies back to the tomb, raising his terracotta army, and gives a speech declaring his intention to conquer the world before sending his soldiers to go past the Great Wall, after which they will be invincible. The O'Connells and Xia Yuan pursue the emperor to the Great Wall, where Yuan, using the oracle bones, sacrifices her own and Lin's immortality to raise an undead army of the emperor's enemies, led by a revived General Ming. The army of the dead, with aid from the group's modern weapons and air support, fights the terracotta army. As Alex rescues Lin, Xia Yuan fights the emperor and is mortally wounded, but secures the dagger. While dying, she gives the blade to Rick and Alex. As this is going on, the emperor transforms into a horned ogre to get past Xia Yuan and goes beneath the Great Wall in order to use his elemental powers to negate Xia Yuan's spell and draw Ming's army back underneath it. Rick and Alex attack him while Evelyn and Lin fight and kill Yang and Choi. The Dragon Emperor gains the upper hand over Rick, while Emperor is gaining the upper hand over Rick with his wushu skills. Alex grabs the dagger's blade and slips into the nearby water. Rick takes the dagger's hilt and plunges it into the Emperor's chest while Alex stabs him with the blade's tip from behind, simultaneously piercing the Emperor's heart from both sides and releasing the dagger's curse. The Emperor is consumed from the inside and out by molten lava, resulting in the deaths of him and his army. Ming's army briefly celebrates before finally moving on to a peaceful afterlife. The O'Connells and Lin return to Shanghai, where Lin and Alex start a relationship while Jonathan decides to move to Peru with the Eye of Shangri-La, as he wants to go somewhere with no mummies, only for credits on the screen to reveal that mummies were recently discovered there.